Sweet.
All right, we're live.
We're live, man.
Today is July 3rd, 8:49 a.m. First
Morning show.
morning podcast.
Yep.
And we haven't recorded a podcast since February of 2025, so it's been kind of a long time. And today we're with Andrew Heuss.
Heuss. Cut that
out. Yeah, quick cut. No. And yeah, we just, I don't know, last year in February kind of went through a lot of different changes and put the podcast down for a while. But I've been feeling the pull to get back into it. And Andrew and I met at a workout group last summer. Training group. Shout out to all the training group people. And we've been saunaing together, and I've been talking about how I'm feeling this pull back to podcasting. And one night, Andrew was like, yeah, that's like my dream job, is to work on a podcast or be on a podcast. And I just gnawed on that for like 2 weeks. And then I was like, why would I not do this with Andrew? So yeah, Andrew and I are going to be hanging out for a little bit. We're gonna dive deep.
This could be a one and done, and Mitch is like, this guy sucks. It's not
I don't know. I don't foresee that. I think we've spent enough time together where I'm like pretty confident.
I've known you for like 2 years. Were you at the first year training group in 2024?
I don't think so, no.
So you just came to 2025.
2025, but I was there day one.
Did you see it on Instagram? How do you know about it? Or did Brogan?
I got rolled up on in
Brogan?
Minneapolis, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and invited me.
You just like saw you in the streets, like, hey, you look
Saw
like you're
me
in
on the
shape.
streets, look like you're in shape. You want to come to
That was
a
his
workout
pitch.
group?
I love when he did that. He's like, yeah, I just found this guy like in Walmart. And it looked
Yeah.
like he was in shape. You
Yeah,
know,
we got to
just
bring that
invited him.
back, honestly, training group.
Well, they do there's probably 3 or 4
You're right.
offshoots. It's
Yeah.
not as big. I don't think anybody's really posting, maybe a little bit if they have their own like Instagram page or something like that. But it's just, I mean, there were on the big nights, there were probably 100 people there.
Sure.
And now there's a few offshoot groups, but I just should text him and just tell him to do a one-off reunion like once a summer. He's just busier. He's got a lot of work stuff going on.
Yeah.
But I do miss a lot of the people. It was just
Yeah.
like such fun.
It was a good crew.
Well, it was such a diverse like group.
Yeah.
Like there are people who are in like insane shape who would be running ultra marathons
Right.
of 100 miles who were like on the cusp of being professional athletes, like endurance athletes.
Yeah.
And then there are people who would show up and like hadn't worked out in forever. Like, there were a few guys and like was like awesome to see.
Yeah.
They were just like, yeah, I just showed up, heard about it, and want to start working out. And I'm like, sweet. Like, don't go hard out of the gate. You know?
Take it slow.
It was the first time I did it, I redlined. I was like, I could run for an hour up and down this hill.
Yeah.
I got 5 minutes in, all of a sudden my heart rate's 190, and I'm like, I might pass out.
Way
This
harder
is
than I
it.
thought.
Yeah. It's super fun.
So, if you introduced yourself to, a couple hundred, maybe 1,000, maybe millions of people, how would you introduce yourself, Andrew?
I would introduce myself as a enthusiastic, joyful Christian who enjoys the people around him and pouring into others through physical activity.
Nice.
Yeah, is that a good summary?
Yeah, that's a great summary.
I just enjoy being around people a lot. Hence why I talked to you like 3 weeks ago or a month ago, whenever it was, about doing podcasting or video stuff or interviewing people.
Yeah.
Because I don't get that with my job as much as far as like the people interaction. It's a little bit different. But I just always missed and enjoyed the talking to people. And some people like talking to people because it benefits them and because they have different incentives at the back end. I'm like, and similar to you, it's like, everybody has a really, really cool story. And I just love learning about stuff because everybody has something I can learn from them.
Yeah.
Whether they're 15 and went through something really traumatic or really, really cool and like they have a story to tell, or they're 70, and have a bunch of cool stories, maybe a bunch of regrets of not doing a lot of stuff, right? So.
Well, that's why we're gonna yin and yang on this thing, really well, because I feel like we're pretty on the same page with like we could actually talk to anybody and at any time.
It's the best part about it.
That's the best part about it. And like, who cares about how many, views or clicks we might get? But
Well, I think talking to people who are just like in a different spot, like we talked about Brogan earlier, like so different than me and you as far as how we view the world, but so fun to talk to and like such a good guy, and just interesting. So it's just fun to meet different people. Like I met a guy 2 or 3 weeks ago. He was detailing my car, and he was from the Caribbean. So we were like talking and chatting. He's my age. He was 30, and I was kind of talking to him, and I was like thinking to myself, like, this guy sounds Jamaican, but I don't want to like just ask somebody because he was like slightly lighter skinned. I was like, I wonder where he's from. And then we were chatting, and he's like, yeah, I came to the U.S. like 10 years ago from the Caribbean. He's like, I probably sound Jamaican. I was like, yeah, I was gonna say that. He's like, yeah, I came here and started a company and married a gal, and then we got divorced, and I lost all my money, and now I'm trying to like start over again at like 30. We were just talking about like life stuff.
So let's get into it.
Him and I've been like, I know, but I just think that's like, I'll have like random people just like they'll just meet, just like pour their life out to me sometimes. And like, I mean, it's really cool, but like I'm not a professional, therapist or anything.
Well,
but I
don't
love
have to
talking
be. You
about
don't have
it.
to have a license.
I know, but I just think they're comfortable with it, and it's really cool and like talk through things. Not that I know anything about life at all, but it's just fun to hear that.
Well, you have a little bit of an idea. You're so humble.
Wow, thank you. Very humble. Most humble person I know, actually. But him and I have been texting a little bit. It's like we're gonna go like work out and just like chit chat a little bit. He just seemed like a little bit like lonely. She talked about it. He's like, yeah, I go to casinos and just like gamble because I'm just like lonely. And I was like, that's such a common thing that most guys my age probably don't even think about.
Yeah.
Like if you got married early, I mean, there's loneliness in marriage too. But if you got married early and like didn't do your 20s as a guy in 2025 or 2026 in the past 10 years or 5 years, there's like a loneliness to it. And so him saying that, I was just like, yeah, dude, I relate to that. Been there.
Yeah.
Been there, done that. Thankfully,
Got the T-shirt.
out of it. But man, like, such a bad spot because it's like, there's not a lot of times in life you'll have an end date on stuff.
Sure.
Like, yeah, this work project's like it ends, July 1st. So like, I know I have maybe 2 months of hardship to go through, or maybe it's gonna be like a rough few months. But some things are like a never-ending ether date of.
It feels like that.
Yeah,
it definitely feels like that.
Whether it's like emotional hardship or financial hardship or whatever it might be, it's just like, when is this like gonna end?
Did you get to share with him the good news?
I didn't. I wanted to just talk to him about.
Yeah, ease into it.
Well, I just want him to like talk. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be like, well, that's cool, but listen to this.
But listen to
kind
the
of
well,
thing.
hey,
which is cool. But I just wanted to just be a guy for him.
Yeah.
And just like talk and be like, hey,
and
dude,
then
let's
maybe
like,
at some point, if it comes up, it comes up.
yeah, it's like, hey, dude, let's go hit a lift and just like talk about life.
Yeah.
And just like hang out.
Yeah.
Especially if he's feeling like he's kind of a little bit alone and stuff. Like, let's go do that. Like, that'd be good for you. Like, that's enjoyable for me. So, why not?
Yeah. So I think one thing where this podcast has kind of changed since February of last year is the reason that I kind of stopped is because I met Jesus and went all into that. And so I think it'd be kind of fun if you shared your story on, how you met Jesus, how you came to it. I know you kind of grew up in the church, but that's like so classic.
But it's not necessarily, it's a little bit different. Your story's probably more interesting than mine.
Well, I'll go after you. You go first.
I know, but I'm just saying it's just like, it's the classic trope of like, you didn't grow up in the church, but like every single time somebody would share their testimony on stage or like in youth group or wherever, they would always be like, well, I grew up in a Christian home. It's like that's almost like an inside joke because everybody's like, I grew up in the Christian home, blah, 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 blah. But I did.
Yeah.
And so I grew up in a Christian home. My mom grew up Quaker. You know what Quaker is? It's like
No, never heard of it. Is it like a denomination?
somebody can fact check me. Yeah, it's like a really conservative like denomination.
Oh, interesting.
Like not conservative from like a
Political standpoint?
yeah, just conservative from like how people like act and wear. It's
Yeah.
almost like a. I always thought it was almost like Amishy growing up. But I didn't really know if it was like quite Amishy, but I guess like my great grandpa brought Quakerism to Iowa or something like that. I don't know, some off thing.
Sounds a bit like a cult. I'm just
Dude,
kidding.
I don't know what it is, but she grew up like Quaker, then was like kind of Baptist, and all the denominations nowadays are a little bit more blended. Obviously, there's extreme denominations on like different sides, but
Oh, yeah.
like if you look at like you go to like a non-dom church to a Baptist church to a like Protestant, I mean, there's some differences, but it's not quite as divided as it used to be. But anyways, so I grew up doing that, but like I had some faith moments, but it was kind of just didn't take it seriously. Like went to church, did the thing. It felt more like a chore to like go to church and everything like that, which I think happens when parents don't allow the kid to have their own faith. So it was kind of like forced upon me, like, you're going to go to church. I'm like, well, that sucks. I want to go out and like play or like,
I want to go see my neighbors. I want to go hang out with my
do
friends.
something else. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did that. And then I think everybody has a moment, especially if you grow up in the church, where you feel like all of a sudden you become an adult and you're in the real world, whether it's right when you leave for college or after college or maybe sometime in your 20s, where for me it was like, all right, if this is a thing, either you got to full send it and do it or you shouldn't do it, which is a lot which is a lot of things in my life of like, if something is worth doing, it's worth doing now.
Yeah.
And it's worth doing all the way. It's not worth lukewarm doing or half-ass doing.
Right.
It's worth like full doing.
Yeah.
And I was just talking to Kyle last night about that, which we can go into later. But so I think when I was 22, I went through kind of like a 6 month of, I wasn't agnostic, but I was kind of just like back burner faith.
Sure.
Like when I graduated college, was in the real world, just broke up with my girlfriend who I thought I was going to basically marry. And so there's a lot of like just big emotional and just big steps and like changes, like graduating college and then being here. Like I had no family here. So I was like trying to figure out, how do I pay my bills? How do I get my groceries? How do I operate a working life? Like all this stuff. And that I was kind of just coasting and doing my thing, very worldly for 6 months. And then in February, it's kind of happened a little bit in the fall, but in February I was like, hey, I believe this is true. I think I should need to do this, and I think it's worthwhile to do because I've never baptized as a kid.
February of 2020.
Like 2 weeks before COVID. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's February. I should know the date.
Yeah.
I think it's February 10th.
That's all right. You don't need to know the date.
But I got baptized at River Valley, one of the campuses there, Crosstown campus. I got baptized there.
Was that a double dunk, or had you been baptized before?
No.
No. Okay.
So, and my parents were always like, you want to get baptized? Kind of like, yeah, I want to get baptized, like, sure.
At some
But
point.
there wasn't like a pressure to do it. I feel
Yeah.
like it's not neat. It's like need to like make it your own faith, because my faith growing up was more like my parents imposing their faith on me versus me enjoying that and trying to grow in that. Mm-hmm. And whether you're, like the Bible can be a great guide to life, even if you're like, I don't want to be a Christian, do all this stuff. I'm like, just go into Proverbs and just like read all those. And if you just take those principles and apply it to your life, and you're like, I don't care about Jesus, I don't care about God, like whatever, I'm agnostic or I'm an atheist, at least from a principle standpoint, like a lot of those are so good.
Yeah.
But in 2020, I was like, I want to, either I need to take it seriously or I don't need to take it seriously. I got to pick a lane. There's no point in being in the middle.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I want to take it seriously. And it's funny because once you get baptized, you think that all of a sudden it's like, I'm never going to sin again. I'm going to be perfect. And like, I won't have any temptation ever, And it happened. That was like that for like a week, like you feel like
Free.
So like I'm on it. And then all of a sudden, like just life starts slowly decaying that mentality a little bit. I think to keep up that mentality, you have to be in the Word more. But I've just always not been good at being disciplined, like Bible reading. Like I pray a lot, but like my Bible reading, some people can just like bang out a chapter a day.
Yeah.
And that's just, I should be better at it, but I'm not.
Yeah.
But it was just an interesting perspective of after you go through being baptized, I always thought I would just be some perfect, never going to sin again, never be tempted person. And then all of a sudden I went and like, sinned almost, the same as before. But there's a way of before or after of you should feel, I felt more spiritually guilty when I would sin versus before I didn't feel like guilt.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't didn't have any spirit in me.
Yeah.
And cognizant of what's going on. So it's just been up and down, and it's been steady, but there's not a straight line for faith. There's been moments and stuff in my life, especially the past 4 years, where I've had a lot of adversity, and all of a sudden you have bad habits, which lead to more sinful behavior. I read a Proverbs probably 2 weeks ago where it talked about, I think it said filling yourself up. It said that, it says fill yourself up with honey because the fool thinks bitter things are sweet. Something along those lines. It's different than that, but it's similar. Where if you fill yourself up with bitter things, it'll taste sweet to you. If you're like a fool. And so I think filling yourself up with just really bad earthly things at the time tastes sweet because that's just how we're built, right? Whether it's pornography or junk food or laziness or going off and lusting after whoever, it feels really good. And the bitterness just tastes sweet to us because we're earthly people. But we have to fill ourselves with the Spirit, and that starts to fill us up more. We don't fill ourselves up with the Spirit, we fill ourselves up with bitterness of the world.
Amen.
So that was a big change the past 6 months to think about that. But I've had so many low spots the past 3 or 4 years where I was sinning crazy, sinning not a Christian.
Intentionally sinning?
No, just
or
I was in such a low point. I was just mad. I was just mad at God, or frustrated with it, or going through seasons of, I know I probably shouldn't be doing this, but screw it. Everything else sucks, so I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah, how do we get mad at God, the creator of the universe, who is all love?
Well, I was just praying for going through.
You were praying for things, and he wasn't giving you what you wanted.
I told you I was praying for endurance because I was going through a year of just turmoil, a year and a half of financial turmoil.
Yeah.
Not getting things going. Not finding the right work that I want to. Extreme loneliness. Just felt like crap for a year and a half. And I was like, God, what the heck? How can I not get out of this season?
I'm praying for endurance. He's like, well, I'm giving you endurance.
I know. I was praying for courage, wisdom, discipline, endurance, and I think there's one other thing. But that season, that's kind of what I was praying for.
Yeah.
The 5. But that was a season of just very earthly fulfillment versus spiritual fulfillment with it.
Yeah.
So we're on the up and up. We're back.
We're back.
We're on the up and
We're
up,
so back.
I think feeling myself, having guys around me like you, doing some Bible studies the past, a year or 2 ago, and just constantly doing stuff with guys who are of similar character and similar, at least mindsets. Obviously everybody's on their own stage and journey, but at least we're going in the same direction or wanting to go in the same direction, right? Whereas some people I'm with are going way over here. They're do 2 or 3 women at a time and do all this stuff. I'm like, hey, no judgment for me, but that's not who I would want to be.
Not my vibe. Yeah.
So different. But your testimony is way cooler than mine.
Why would you say that? Don't downplay your own testimony. And I wouldn't even say that, my testimony is not even that crazy by any means.
Well, I think, isn't there something in the Bible where, somebody can fact check me, but I thought there was somewhere in the Bible where, someone who becomes a Christian later on, there's I thought there's a verse about when someone becomes a Christian.
Having strength to their.
Yeah, there's something about.
Sounds like something Paul would say.
I don't know. I don't want to.
You don't want to misquote.
I don't want to pee in your cornflakes.
Steer someone in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, I look back at John, I think chapter 6, 44, where Jesus says, no one will come to me unless the Father first draws them in. So, from my perspective, God was working on my heart for a long time, but I was missing it. I was seeking for years. I just wasn't seeking through the right things. And I think it was prideful behavior that made me not want to give my life to something greater than me. So I tried drinking, I tried smoking dope, I tried working out, I tried things that are healthy as well, right? It wasn't all just bad stuff. I wasn't like by any means like a bad person. But I was trying to fill that void with things of the earth and interests that I had here. So in April of last year, 2025, I had been going to church for probably 6 months or so, and just a non-denominational church. And I grew up going to a Catholic church. And so non-denominational from Catholic is like a whole different world.
Like total opposites.
Total opposites. So like I didn't know that the music at the beginning was worship. I just thought it was music. I was so naive to just about everything. So I was going with a friend, a husband and a wife, and my wife was coming as well with her kids. And at the end, the preacher usually says, after he prays, he goes, "And all God's people said," and the whole congregation says, "Amen." And I turned to the guy next to me and I go, "I like when the preacher says, 'And all God's people said,' and everyone goes, 'Amen.'" And he looks at me and he was just kind of like, "Boy, you might not be where I thought you were," or like, I don't exactly, I guess we've never had that conversation about faith. Or maybe he just assumed since I was coming to church that I kind of knew. And I mean, he's a busy guy. So he was like, he looks at me and he goes, "Let's get lunch." "You don't know what you're talking about. Let's get lunch." Or, "You're new to this." It wasn't, "You don't know what you're talking about." It was, "You're new to this. And I didn't know that. Let's get lunch." So I think it was April 7th of 2025. Him and I got lunch. He had a super busy day, did not want to come to this lunch, but he felt conviction of not going. So he's like, "Okay, I follow God. I don't follow the world. I'm just going to go to this lunch. If I miss stuff at work, it is what it is." So, I mean, this guy's very blunt, so it's, always fun talking to him because he just like lays it on you. But we sit down and he goes, "So where are you at?" And I kind of gave him the spiel of like, I don't know, I'm kind of going to church right now, trying to like kind of figure that out. I grew up in the Catholic church, but like I'm learning a lot of new things within this non-denominational church. And we just chatted back and forth. So I didn't really have like any sort of testimony. Like I had just realized that, or maybe I knew this, but I guess I never admitted that Jesus was God. And that was like new information to me when I got to the non-denominational church.
Do they say that in the Catholic Church?
They do. It's just me, I missed it. Like now looking back, I have so much appreciation for the Catholic Church, and I think it's a beautiful church and a cool religion, and there's a lot of good stuff to it. But it just, I think as a kid growing up in a church like that, there's so much structure and like behavior that you're supposed to follow, and it almost feels like rules, and it just, I don't know, I think it rubs, kids don't want to be controlled, so it maybe rubbed me the wrong way. I never wanted to go to church. I always fought my parents on going to church. But regardless, we're sitting there and we're sitting at Crispin Green, and he starts bringing up surrender. And he's like, "Well, I think like you're at a stage of like your next step might be surrender." I was like, "Well, I don't know what surrender is. That sounds complicated." But I left that lunch. He talked about it. He explained it. It was a little bit over my head, and maybe made it sound a little bit more complex than it actually was. But I left that just with that word surrender, just like cycling through my mind. And later that night I did a sauna with my neighbors who have been like spiritual, like just such a godsend and great spiritual leaders to me. I was just telling them about the lunch, and I was like, this surrender kept coming up. Surrender. I don't know what it is though. And they just put it so simply. It's just something you do every day in your prayers. And I was like, well, I'm capable of that. So as of that night, I started surrendering my life, and slowly the scales started to peel back from my eyes. Like, truly, I started to see the world so much different. I started to hear things different. I started to act different, obviously. I started to be, more cognitive of my past behaviors. And it was just like a wild change that like started slow, but then like progressed very quickly. And then I started getting into scripture, and the words just started flying off the page. Like it was so alive and so undeniable that I was just like, what is happening right now?
What was the biggest change before the scripture when you said like your like prayer and like surrender? What was the mentality change with that changed? How you just said that mentally, like everything just felt different. You thought about things different.
I think it was Christ just working in my heart and just reaping and sowing me and making me brand new. Because like the minute that I started surrendering, I think surrender is a constant thing. I think our testimony also lives on. But the minute that I started doing that, like the Lord came in and he was just started, picking at different things in my heart. So he's like, well, we're going to start with this, then we're going to move on to this, then we're going to move on to this. And then, he puts you in different seasons of life. So like super quickly, I kept seeing fasting. I saw fasting like everywhere. And I was like, well, this seems like a spiritual thing that I should probably do. So I started fasting, I don't know, a few months after, I met Jesus. And that just like blew my mind as well. And the power behind spiritually fasting and fasting for Christ and stripping ourselves from our desires and temptations and truly just giving ourselves to the Lord. And I was like, well, that's kind of cool. I feel like that like also like really helped my, faith and drew me closer. But yeah, it probably sounds so crazy to some people listening, but it's so real when you experience it. It's undeniable. And that's where I go, I've always looked across from someone and I've always been able to see the brokenness. I know that I'm broken. I know that people around me are broken. I know nobody's perfect. And I know for a fact, I can tell you 100% that Jesus is the answer. Jesus is the answer to your brokenness, the answer to the void in your heart that you're missing. He is the way, the truth, the life. He fills your cup. He gives you everything that you need and more. And that's the nice thing about coming to Christ later in life is just, that you're changing so fast and you're so aware of it, that I want to tell people. I want to tell people that don't know about Jesus, like, there's good news. There is good news. We have a God that loves you, that cares about you, that wants to listen to you, that wants to build a relationship with you, and wants to, tell you how to live.
What's the tangible change that you've seen?
Tangible
Because I think a lot of
change.
times we're talking really like high level, and it's like, yeah, I feel different, and like it's gonna fill my cup, and like all this stuff. But I think it's hard to really pinpoint of like, I did this before and now I do this instead, or I think this when this happens, or I used to think this when this happens, now I think this. Like, do you have an example of a before and after, like actual on earth real life thing that
For sure.
like you do differently or think differently?
And like I brought up that verse about the Father drawing us in, right? So like I think that I was called to stop drinking before I even met Jesus. And like, I listened to that, right? And I stopped drinking years ago. But like, I mean, that would be like one that happened before I met Jesus. Since then, like a tangible thing has been my temperament, without a doubt. And especially with my kids, and the patience that I have with my kids, and the grace that I have with my kids, and understanding my role as a father, which is to lead our family, and to be that steady rock that like everyone else can kind of lean on when they're in times of trouble. So like a real life example would be, my kids are going absolutely berserk before bed, right? And they're just all over the place. But past Mitch probably would have just flipped on them, right? Just been like, get to bed, whatever. Which I would feel conviction after, but I don't know. It was just, and now, like, since my prayer life has enhanced, praying for patience in those sort of moments, I can actually feel in real time the change and more patience being bestowed upon me. And so I would say that's like a tangible, like a more tangible change. Is that kind of what you were looking for? Or
Yeah.
did you have like a different thing in mind?
No, this patience is a big one.
Yeah.
And I knew the drinking thing too, but I think patience is a big one that you've talked about to me a little bit before.
Also confidence in the fact of you know where you're going at the end of all this. Obviously that takes faith, but a sense of purpose and the peace that transcends all understanding was actually like the craziest change, especially when I first started, was just like, I felt like all this weight that I had just left. And I was like, holy smokes, this Jesus guy, he is really peaceful. But the sense of purpose and the fact that I now like understand why I'm here on earth, and that is to glorify the Lord and to tell, I guess, as many people as possible about it. And that wherever you are, right? Whether it's here on a podcast, whether I meet you on the street, whether, you talk to some random person at a Walmart, and that's where like it clicked, right? It just, I was always lost on, man, I should be doing this, and I should be doing that, and I should be trying this, and I should be trying that, and I should be doing this business. Oh, I want to do this business. And once you like finally understand your purpose, you're like, oh, wait. Yeah, I should be, glorifying God, and I should just let him, guide me. And like opportunities and doors will open. Like, I mean, this place just like kind of came across, and I was like, man, I've been thinking about getting back into podcasting. Maybe this would be a good spot, because I don't really want to do a whole lot of the back end work anymore. I don't want to set up the lights and the cameras and the whole deal. I'd rather give that to somebody else. And then I met Dan, the podcast man, and he's a fellow believer himself. And I was like, this feels right. So like, it's not like by any means just like blindly being like, Jesus, take the wheel. Or like, how Kyle said it last night. He said, that's like standing in front of a train and saying, God save me. Like there's action behind all of the guidance, right? But yeah, it's, following what comes about and how Jesus works in your life.
Yeah. I think it's probably just, like you said, guided action through your knowledge and like the word of, I know this is true, or I read this in Proverbs, or I read this wherever it might be, and want to apply that verse to my life of like honoring my wife. And so I read that, so now I'm going to action item that to honor her more. Maybe it's one way for one person, another way for another person, or maybe my wife tells me how I can honor her. I just ask her, what's the best way to do that, either spiritually or physically or whatever it might be. So having that change, but having that action item built in, you just have a guidebook of what action items you should take.
It's a
And
guidebook.
then you apply that to your life. So it's not like they're telling you how to do everything and just like so fire and brimstone and strictness. Obviously, there's some like strictness.
There's some bold claims, or some bold things said for
but
sure.
we're not going to be perfect on it no matter what. That's just part of it, right? It's a guidebook. It's not a, I mean, I guess technically it's a law book, but it's not a, like you break one thing and like, see ya, you're off the squad.
You're off the squad. Yeah,
So just different with that. Remind me before, where was your podcast at?
it was at my house,
In your basement?
in my basement. Yeah.
You just like set up the lights and cameras and everything?
Set it all up, and then after we'd get our kids to bed, either I would do it with my wife or I would have a friend come over and we would chat for however long. Some episodes were an hour, some episodes were 3 hours, and a lot of it actually not a lot of it, probably like half of it was audio only, so I didn't have any video incorporated in it, and then which like adds another complexity.
Video is a whole other beast.
It's a whole nother
It
beast.
makes it 3 or 4 times more complicated, more work. Audio,
Oh, yeah.
you can sit in a dark room and
Right.
be good to go.
Yeah.
Video is like aligning it with the audio and having it the right channel, and then switching back and forth and making sure that it's the right lighting, the right frame rate, and like it's lined up with the audio on like the back end of editing. It's a headache.
It is.
Right.
It is a big headache, which is why I like viewed this place as like a godsend. And I was like, this is like exactly what I was looking for. And I mean, like, this is a good setup. I
Yeah.
like this setup. These chairs are pretty comfy. I got a good angle at you.
I know. I can see you guys' face. It's great.
We're going to get Dan the podcast man a mic next week so that, or next couple weeks, so that he can chime in during the episodes. If we need to, like, you know, use like Joe Rogan uses Jamie. If we need some information or some like scripture or something,
We need
Dan
some
can just
insight.
pop in and say, "What's up?"
Yeah. I was thinking about this last night when I got home from sauning at your place. You've probably been sauning and cold plunging more consistently than most people that I know. Because how long have you been sauning consistently?
Couple years. I think I bought my sauna in 2024.
And do you
July of
always?
2024.
You don't always cold plunge with it. It's mainly just like sauning.
I don't in the winter.
Yeah.
I just find it unnecessary. But in the summer, for sure.
Have you noticed any big like health changes, mental changes,
Oh
anything
yeah.
like that? Or is it just more just like an overall? I just feel a little bit better. Or is there other big like, dude, like I did this 2 years ago and now it's gone or it's better or whatever it might be.
I think.
I think it's really fatty right now, and I think anything fatty is always blown out of proportion how beneficial it is.
I
Like,
would disagree with that wholeheartedly.
What?
I would
That's
buy the
fatty?
stock in sauna. I think it's a fad that will live on. Dude, you look at the fins. It's been around for hundreds of years.
Believe this guy, Dan. Do you believe this guy? Yeah, I think it's true, but I think some people like
I would-
like
I
your
would-
social media people who are just like, dude, you do this, you'll live forever.
I would short the stock on cold plunge. I would buy the stock on sauna. I think cold plunge is fine. I'm not obsessed with it. If I would rather the plunge be like lukewarm, like 50 degrees groundwater. That's perfect. Because when you're sitting in a 200-degree sauna, like there's nothing better than refreshing yourself with a 50-degree little splash. But I never like felt very good after doing cold plunging. I always felt like jittery, which is why I kind of just steered away from it. And I actually don't like. I never tell people when everyone thinks about the sauna, they also like put cold plunging into that. So I'm always very diligent about being like, cold plunging's to each their own. I think it's not something that I'm gonna promote, but if you like it, you like it.
I think
you know?
cold plunging with the stimulation, like the vagus nerve and stuff. I think it's just like great. It's like it's a healthy dopamine hit
Sure.
versus like nicotine or social media or video games or whatever it might be. Like all this stuff is probably more unhealthy dopamine hit. I'd rather do like a cold plunge thing. Because I've talked to some people who are like, yeah, I took antidepressants before I started cold plunging. Now I don't take them anymore.
Yeah.
That's
That's kinda
maybe
crazy.
that's a one-off deal. But anyways, sauna benefits. What's your benefit? What's been the biggest change?
Yeah, so I started sauning when around the same time that I stopped drinking, and when I stopped drinking, I lost 20 or 30 pounds within the first like 2 to 3 months.
Really?
Yeah. So it was like that.
And diet was the same, or did you because you stopped drinking, you ate differently?
Diet was probably similar.
So I feel like when you stop drinking, you eat better.
Probably.
Just because you're like, yeah, I'm gonna have 2 beers and a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
When you're not drinking, it's like I'm gonna have a water and an avocado
Right.
turkey sandwich.
Yeah.
You know, a little different.
I was definitely more cognitive of how I was eating. And it wasn't like I was overweight by any means. I just like kind of looked like a dad.
You're super lean now.
Had the dad body.
You're super, super lean.
Yeah, maybe a little too lean. Is that what you're trying to say? Are you trying to say I'm too lean?
No, you just look like a runner. You look like you run a lot.
A little skinny. Yeah, I'm a little skinny boy now. But yeah, so I don't know if I would contribute that to sauna or if I would contribute that to stopping drinking. My favorite thing about the sauna is community. I know that there are some scientists out there that can talk your ear off about the health benefits of sauna and what it does if you're in 180 degree for 15 minutes and how that starts some sort of process within your body and you're burning a certain amount of fat but I just love being with people in a healthy environment where there's also something about being in like that really hot heat where people just like open up and they're just like, all right, I'm done. Like I'm struggling with this.
It's a literal hot ones.
Yeah.
It's a little hot one show.
Yeah. And a lot of people that come over to sauna, they go, oh, you should do your podcast in the sauna. And I was like, I don't know how that would work with like electricity.
I thought about that yesterday. I was like, if we have lights or anything in there, even if we just do like podcast stuff, I feel like the podcast equipment would kind of short circuit, especially if it's by the fire. You have to put it like by the door. Because by the fire, it would literally melt.
So you could pop your tarp off and start the fire and just not have it hot in there and just do it in the sauna for like a cool aesthetic, but
not the same.
Not the vibe.
I want people to be like heaving heavy into the microphone, like Darth Vader, dripping sweat. They're kind of like going in and out of consciousness as they're telling their story.
Right.
Like me yesterday. It's like 5 minutes in, and I don't know if it's just been like stress lately, but I told Bethany when I got home, I was like I spent 5 minutes. We did four, I think I missed the first one, so we did 3 sessions, and like 5 minutes in, I was toast.
Yeah.
And usually we do 12 minutes or 15 minutes.
Yeah, around there.
Give or take.
Yeah, 15
which
minutes. Protocols are for sheep, but yeah.
I just felt bad yesterday.
Yeah,
I just felt like I don't know. I just didn't feel like, usually I feel like good when I'm sweating. Like I just didn't feel good. I felt like off.
Well, you also were moving all day.
Yeah, the past 2 days.
The past 2 days.
Yesterday was
and you did
half
have
a day.
like kind of a lot on your plate.
Yeah, I just think my body was a little stressed.
Yeah.
With everything going on with engagement.
You started a
moving.
fast and then stopped the fast. Maybe you were feeling a little bit of conviction.
I did feel some conviction. I felt bad. That's why I didn't tell you guys right away. You're like, yeah, we're all fasting tonight. It's going to be great. And I was like, I'll tell him in 20 minutes.
Yeah. We'll get there at some point.
I'm saving the fast for next week.
Yeah.
But then it was great because Kyle's like, I want to, because I was like, yeah, I'm not fasting. I'm moving it to next week, I think. He's like, I feel like I should do it with you. I feel like there's a conviction I need to do it with you now.
Yeah.
And I was like, Sunday night, I'll text you. Let's ride. He's like, well, I've only done 36 hours. I'm like, well, let's do 48. That's fine. If you want to do 48, I'll do 72.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, if I do it, I want to do it. I was like, all right.
Then do 72.
Yeah. He's like, I want the white monster. I was thinking about that today. I was going to text and be like, I'll give you 1 white monster a day for your fasting for the first time. You get water and a white monster, and that's it.
Yeah.
And if you're a cop, I feel like you got to have.
Yeah.
I want my cops who are fasting to have a white monster, just for the general public safety.
Yeah.
What if they're chasing a bad guy and they're out of energy? They need a white monster it.
And you gotta chase someone down, and you've been fasting for 70 hours, and you're just like, oh my gosh,
that's what I'm saying. I think it's a public safety issue. It's a public safety issue.
Could be a public safety issue.
He did say that I want to have a race with him, where I have a 20-yard head start, and he has to chase me through yards. Were you there with that conversation?
No.
2 weeks ago?
That would be epic, and I would love to.
I was like, dude,
could I film that?
It would be an awesome race. He's like, dude, nobody can outrun me, especially in the city. I'm I'll chase you down, jump over fences. I'm like, All right, let's do it. Give me a 20-yard head start through the suburbs and see if I can get out of your escape you.
Oh, we got to do like an obstacle course. You can't be running through people's backyards, but
I feel like that's
I would put my money on him catching you.
Yeah, maybe. If you give me a month to train, I think I could do it.
Yeah, he's gonna be a good guy to have on the podcast.
I'm pumped. I want to have him and Jordan on.
Yes,
Jordan's Bible knowledge. He needs to have his own podcast video thing.
Right.
I think he would kill it. His knowledge, dude. Again, I feel like I'm a kindergartner when he starts talking about stuff in the best way. But he's just like, well, this, and then Eucharist, and
dude, the 5
Eucharist
cups
and all this stuff. And I went out of the sauna right before he finished telling the story about that. But just his knowledge on the Bible and what do you think about this? It's like, well, this book was written in this time, and so that means that then this person also wrote this book, but they were also from this area, so that means that this is their perspective coming from this, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm I read the Bible extremely 2D, and he reads it very 3D.
Yeah.
Or even 4D.
Right.
It's I need to get better at.
Yeah.
But he's just so good with that. And that's what he loves. That's what he reads in his free time. And dude, I read mystery novels or Scooby-Doo.
Really?
I mean, I just read anything. I'm on a big Dungeon Crawler Carl kick right now.
Dungeon Crawler Carl.
It's
interesting.
It's a video game RPG, which is style of video game in a book.
Ooh.
And Audible has 60,000.
Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of weird.
Wait,
That sounds like Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay, can I pitch it to you?
Sure, pitch.
Give me a 30-second pitch.
Mm-hmm. A 30-second rundown.
60,000 reviews on Audible, 4.8 stars. It's okay. Give me a second. The world's ending. Aliens take over the world. Most of the people die. A few select people get sucked into a dungeon. If they make it through all 12 levels of the dungeon, they escape with their freedom. But if they die in the dungeon, they die in real life. Throughout the dungeon, they get weapons or armor or different stuff, with upgrades and stat points and stuff. And each dungeon level is a different scene. So the first one is just a basic one. The second one is a cursed zombie circus one. The third one is trains and different stuff going on. It's each level gets harder and harder and harder, and people are dying, but the characters in are upgrading themselves. And it's a comedy. It's a comedy, action, fantasy all blended into one. It's a super easy read, which is why I like it, because usually I'll do more in-depth, intense books, which for me were great, but now I just kind of want something light. So it's fun to read, it's easy to read, it's funny, and it's just a fun book.
It's Inception.
What?
It's Inception.
What's Inception?
The book
that
you're reading. About? It's a spin-off of Inception.
Why?
Because you just explained Inception, the movie.
No, I didn't. Inception, they're going into dreams.
Same deal. If they die in the dream, they die in real life.
No, the dungeon is real life. They're actually sucked into the dungeon.
So, interesting.
So, the world ends, apocalyptic. And then there's a big announcement over the world intercom of, hey, whoever's alive, you have 12 hours to make it to a door to get in the dungeon or else you're going to die. And then he has to, walk down into the door. And then he basically gets, a coach saying, all right, you're on this TV show. You're on this, show. Here's your stat points, all this kind of stuff. And just book one's a 9-hour listen or so.
Yeah,
it's great. But it's the biggest fantasy book right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Just give it a shot.
Yeah, no, maybe not. I don't know.
All I know is I had 2 of my friends read it, and one of them already finished. There's 10 books coming out. The 8th one just came out, so there's 2 more coming. He finished all 8 in a month.
Really?
And then my other buddy,
I
started before him, and he was already in book 6. I've kind of been slacking on book 4.
Okay.
But I was reading a book a week.
Reading or listening?
Listening to him.
Listening.
The book covers. Okay. The book covers are sweet.
Yeah.
Bethany was gonna give me a hardcover. The hardcovers for an engagement present, but we're gonna wait on that a little bit because they're out of stock. But I just like listening now because reading physically, I can digest it more and quicker. But listening to it, if I go on a walk,
yeah,
it's easier. Go for a run, it's nice. Or even a workout, I'll just listen to it.
You're not gonna have your book while you're running.
Yeah, so it's just a little bit different because I usually have a lot of hard copies, but I've been doing Audible the past year.
Sure.
And it's just a little bit change of pace. Sometimes it's hard if I'm working. I can't listen and do intense work because all of a sudden I like snap back to my book and I'm 2 chapters past where I remember what was going on, so I have to rewind, which is the hard part, but it's just kind of just an easier thing to do.
So can we snap back here quick to when you were baptized and you asked me what was like a physical change or like a noticeable change. What do you think it was for you? Like, what was a noticeable change once you met Jesus that you were like, wow, this is different?
I think it was more of a mental change, seeing through things of like, this isn't what I should be doing. More of a conviction behind the scenes of like, this isn't what I should be doing. This is what I should be doing. Versus previously, it was a little bit more, I just feel like doing that, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
That was probably the biggest change.
Amen.
So it was just like a awareness, more of an awareness of it. And some people could say, well, it's just because mentally you did this, so then you're a little bit more cognizant of what's going on. But I think it was just more of I was more spiritually aware. I just felt more guilty. And I've noticed that like the more bad I do, the more bad I like will do. Like the more bad habits just kind of like feeds into itself in anything in life. Like, it's always momentum, good or bad, constantly in every aspect.
Yeah.
So like I would all of a sudden be like, I did this, and all of a sudden be like, well, I already sinned and did this one thing today, so I'm actually gonna just do this other thing. Then I'm like, I'm gonna go have like maybe more beers than I should, and I'm gonna go, do X, Y, Z, whatever it might be, right?
Yeah.
Versus good, it's just like we talked about earlier, it's like filling up your cup. If you fill yourself up with like good things, whether it's like actual spiritual stuff, like reading the Bible, or just like positive things I ate healthy and I worked out and I, served my wife really well and I helped a friend who was going through a tough time today, had a phone call with him, and like having that just like feeds into itself.
Yeah.
So I think it's just an awareness of doing that more so. Not that again that I am perfect at it, but it was just I felt more disturbed when I would do bad things. I just felt more guilty.
Yeah, it's a testimony to like what you put in is what you put out.
Yeah.
The content that you receive will have its effect on you. Your algorithm has influence on you, whether you're willing to admit it or not. The books that you read have influence on you. The people that you're around have influence on you. You're saying being cognitive of your input, right? So that your output is pointing at
Right.
the truth.
Yeah.
Which is like so crazy that truth is not a concept. Truth is a person. My whole life, I thought that truth was just a concept and it was my truth and what I think is true. Like that wall is white. That sign is yellow. But that's perception. This is going to sound funky, but who knows if you look at the color yellow and your yellow is different than mine?
I thought about that so many times, actually. Yeah.
And
Yep.
okay, now we're down the color rabbit hole.
Everybody sees colors. For a while there, I was like, is everybody actually the same? Everybody likes the color blue, but blue to everyone might be a different color in their mind.
That's like, I love thinking about that. And what I've always thought about heaven, I guess not always thought, but over the last year, I've always pictured heaven as you get there and it's like a new color that you've never seen before. Like a primary color that it's so divine you can't even think about it. Like our minds can't go there. And I was actually listening to this kid who had died, claimed to meet Jesus and go to heaven. And he actually talked about the colors in heaven that you don't see here on earth, which I found super interesting. And I was like, oh, I don't know if you died and met Jesus, that's insane. That is so awesome. And then you came back to, preach his word. Super cool. But there's also a lot of people, within other religions that have died and claimed to meet, their
Yeah,
leader.
there's always some skeptic there, which I can appreciate some skepticism on stuff, because some people everybody has their biases, but everybody, if it applies and supports their niche, whether it's a story or political stance or whatever, they'll be like, can you believe this? Like, this is so true. I'm less like, well, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I always just to like take everything positively, but with caution.
Yeah. Yeah. And thinking back to what I just asked you about the physical change that you asked about, the tongue, my tongue and the words and the power behind our tongue. That's like something that I think is still being worked on, but also has been being worked on for like the past year. There's scripture that says the tongue is as sharp as a sword. There's a proverb that says the tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. And I think a lot of us, or I know that I did this, we underestimate the power of the words that come out of our mouths, and we're quick to use I am statements and identifying with emotions rather than identifying with our creator. Where once you start, once you trick yourself into identifying with emotions, then that's what you become. I am depressed. Well, you're tricking yourself into being depressed. I am anxious. And I'm not saying this is like a cure-all by any means, but I'm just saying when you speak like that, you give that life. So like the Bible talks about how sin starts as a thought, and then you speak it into life, and then you take action on it. And that's like the process of sin, right? We think it first. Sometimes it's spoken or it's an action that we do. So like being very aware of the things that come out of my mouth, that's like, I should have said that right away, but then I thought about it later. So I was like, I got to bring this back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tongue is as sharp as a sword. I am. It should always be I feel, because it's okay to feel. It is totally, we are humans. We should feel. If you don't feel, then you probably have more of a problem. We are going to be sad. We are going to be happy. We are going to be anxious. We are going to be depressed. But we should never put our identity in our emotions so we don't become our emotions.
Easier said than done, because I will all of a sudden go down an emotional rabbit hole, good, bad, or otherwise, and then all of a sudden I got to come back to center and be like, okay, like I went on this tirade of bad emotions or good emotions, and then it just didn't serve me.
Yeah.
It's just not, you're not centered. You're just doing earthly stuff,
Right.
which is fine to have those emotions because we're human, but it's just not the truth. It's just a moment and a snippet in time of
The truth?
yeah, it's just like my truth, but not the truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like an artificial truth. It's just a moment in time, but not of who I am,
Yeah.
my identity.
Right.
Right.
Amen. Amen. Our identity is one thing. Our identity is in one thing and one thing only. And that is the creator of the heavens and earth. In the beginning, God spoke the universe. And then I actually saw something the other day that it was like, scientists have discovered that vibrations started the universe. And then you go back to scripture and you go, God spoke the universe into creation. And you're like, well, yeah, when you speak, there's vibrations, right?
We should dissect every theory. One of my favorite classes ever in college was Christian theology.
Oh,
where the
so
professor
good.
would have every, he basically broke like, here's five common arguments in Christianity.
Yeah.
And one of them was like new Earth theory, older like different theories of like the Earth's only 5,000 years old, or the Earth is actually 800 million years old, whatever it might be. And then like how the Earth start. Like, is the Big Bang actually God speaking? Is the Big Bang not true? Was it actually just a flashlight? Like, he just talked to different theories. It'd be a fun podcast to like break down each argument for each section. It was just interesting how he put it, and I never knew what he thought. Because every new argument, I'd believe it. You're like, that's a good point, Paul-Eddie. That's
Yeah,
a great
I'm gonna
point.
lock
Like,
that one
I'm
in
gonna
my-
believe that. And then he's like, in the next class, he'd be like, how about this, this, this? And like, actually, last week was not like free thinking or like Arminianism.
Sure.
Free will versus, can't believe I can't remember the name. Basically, predestination. And everywhere in between. There's like 3 or 4
Yeah.
different arguments for that, which is interesting.
Ooh, we got a lot to talk
Whole
about.
can of worms to
We
get
just
into.
we just hit the 60-minute mark, so we gotta sign off here. You got some wise words for the people?
Well, they're gonna listen after the 4th of July, but happy post 4th of July when you listen to this in a week.
Yeah. Fast, pray, give. Thanks for tuning in. I like the morning episodes. This is cool. Maybe
we should just
keep
say,
this
hey, if
rolling.
you're wanting to fast with us, we fast on the 1st of every month, 3 days. This month I didn't because my fiance wanted me to do some dinner stuff, so I'm moving to next week. But Mitch is currently 48 hours fasted, approximately.
May or may not have broke a little bit this morning with the coffee and
What do you have, cream in your coffee?
a little bit, just a tiny
Okay,
bit.
we're going over time. We gotta rock.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you soon.